Hello, everybody, and welcome to Educator Career Chat, How to Explore Career Pathways. This is our second video in this series, and we're so happy you could join us today. As an educator, you can make your impact on the world in a variety of ways that align best with your interests, personality, and abilities. In this four-part series, we are working to discover best practices for exploring your career pathway in education and setting yourself up for success in the world of education. When most of us think about careers in education, one of the first positions that pops into our brains are K through 12 settings because we are highly familiar with teachers in K through 12 settings. However, there are a ton of other options for our educators. It is important to explore career pathways in education in order to find your current fit within education, given your education path that you've been on so far, your interests, personality, and strengths within education. And also to realize what other careers in education are options for you now or in the future. As we get started, please do not forget to private message me your ASU right at asu.edu email so I know who's here with us viewing live. And we're going to go ahead and jump on in. We've got a short workshop planned for you today, and then we should have some time for some brief Q&A. If you have any questions, go ahead and feel free to chat us, and we'll work to get to those at the very end. My name's Jackie Heidegger, and I'm a career advisor at ASU with Career and Professional Development Services.
I am Jen Sentner. I'm one of the advisors for the Educational Studies program. All right. In order to find your fit for this particular season of life, we suggest considering the career development process to guide your exploration. So this would start with self-assessment, such as your interests, your values, skills, and talents. Research, using self-assessment criteria to analyze a fit for you. Reality testing, so informational interviews, internships, and then the last step would be implementing your decision. So selecting a major, activities, job search, things along those lines.
And this cycle is truly a cycle. This isn't something that we're ever done with. So the exciting thing about the career development process is we are always learning things about ourselves within our career. So we can engage in this cycle no matter where we are, whether we're a first-year student at ASU trying to decide on a major or what our best career path is within our major, or when we are ready to take that step out into the professional world and figure out what exactly do we want to do with our first entry-level job. All right, so the first step in the career development process is always self-assessment. I always like to call this phase me search because it's the research you get to do about yourself. It's really important to be considering our abilities, personality, and interests in order to find a fulfilling and satisfying opportunity for us. So it's really important to engage in me search, but when I encourage students to do that, sometimes there's a lot of puzzled looks on their faces, and I totally understand that. So what we want to do is come up with a process for ourselves to conduct some self-assessment in order to explore different career paths.
So first, you want to start by assessing your strengths, your talents, your skills, knowledge, and abilities. So these 8 assessments on here, or 8 competencies, are skills that employers have identified as being crucial to your success. So you should have some experience in all of these, but depending on the area in which you're going into, it might be a little bit different. For example, if you want to be a game developer, you may need a higher level of skill in the digital technology competency than a teacher, but all careers are going to require something in each of these areas. It's important to consider what areas we're the strongest in and what areas we're still developing. So you want to be thinking about this as you're considering future careers or even part-time jobs or internships now, because you really want a position that will allow you to shine. Go ahead and take a moment to reflect on your 2 strongest career competencies. Also write down the competency that you could grow the most in. This is one example of how you can reflect on your strengths and areas of growth in the coming years, but starting now. It's important to be honest with yourself throughout this process so you're really able to focus on what your strengths are and how you can grow. And you also want to reflect on that as you're going through, as Jackie said, you want to keep going through this process.
All right, so the second area of me search is considering your personality. Now, there are a ton of little quizzes you can take on Facebook to learn more about your personality, but something I always suggest when you're really trying to dive into some of this self-reflection and assessment is to ask yourself some crucial and critical questions, such as those that are up on the screen. If you are someone who likes to free write or journal, I totally suggest taking out a pen and paper or using your laptop to type up some short answers to some of these questions. It's really important to consistently be self-reflecting as we are constantly changing as humans and as professionals. So asking yourself these questions at different stages in your career, you're going to solicit different answers from yourself that are going to help you further decide what career pathway might be better for you.
Your interests and passions are something else that you want to consider when you're exploring as well. So if you consider yourself an educator, education is probably one of your career interests, but you most likely have more than one. So you want to take that into account, and here are some different options to consider as well.
Excellent. So once you've done some really thorough self-reflection and assessment, it's time to actually get on the web and get out there and talk to people in order to do some research on actual career pathways. So up on the screen, I have a lot of resources that are available to you, but this is by no means an all-inclusive list. There's a lot out there. You all know that. Even a simple YouTube search can show you a job shadow for a career you might be considering. But up on the screen, I have some of my favorite online resources to help you learn about various career pathways and what you can be working on now to help you be successful in those career pathways. The first row up on the screen is very exploratory in nature. So what can I do with this major? The My Next Move assessment in the Bureau of Labor Statistics Occupational Outlook Handbook can all help you dive into different career areas and learn more about some of the day-to-day function, salary, job outlook, and other information that might be helpful for you. In the second row, we have some different online tools that can bring to life real-life opportunities that you can apply to or that others have had in the past. These tools also have features to help you build and maintain your professional network. I hope many of you on here have activated your Handshake profile. That's an amazing tool just for ASU students that you can log on and look at jobs and other opportunities that you might be able to apply for right now that align with your career interest areas. LinkedIn is a great place also for job and internship searching and connecting with those that we know. By utilizing other features on LinkedIn, such as the alumni search tool, you can actually begin to expand your network. And if you're more interested in that and some of these online tools that I've talked about briefly, you can certainly tune into our May 16th webinar for our Educator Career Chats, where we'll talk more about how you can utilize these online tools to network in order to discover your career pathways. And then finally, the third row outlines a couple of different strategies that you may be able to employ by going to different in-person experiences that can help you explore. So whether that's a networking event that's happening on campus or in an area close to you where you get to meet and mingle with other professionals, or if it's an opportunity such as a part-time job, a study abroad experience, a job shadowing experience, an internship, etc., it's an experiential learning opportunity. Those are all great ways to help yourself really do some amazing career research in a very real world setting with other professionals.
So you'll want to reflect on an experience that you had that helped you grow. What experiences have you had? You've all had some sort of experiences, and what have you learned from those particular experiences that you can use moving forward?
Mm-hmm. Now take some time to consider what are some experiences that you can take advantage of to further help you decide on some different decisions in regards to your career pathway.
To get you started on that, There are various experiences that you can apply for. So these would be things like paid work experience, service learning or volunteer work, internships. So you want to think about everything that you've done in the past. If you're not getting paid for it, that doesn't mean that it doesn't count. And you really want to think about what are the things that are going to relate the most to what you are wanting to do or what your interests are.
Absolutely. Experiences are an excellent way to actually test out all of the me-search and the research that you've been doing in order to further help you implement that decision, which again, that's the goal of the career development process. So it's really important to, again, like Jen said, reflect on the experiences that you've had, that you've applied for in the past, but also to think of what are some other applications you could submit? What are some new things you can get involved with to help you explore? There is no such thing as a bad experience in relation to your career path. Every experience that you apply for or seek out is going to allow you the opportunity to further decide, this is for me, or this is definitely not what I want to be doing. So along with the experiences that you can apply for, there are other experiences, like I've alluded to previously, that you can actually create for yourself. Career exploration is all about what experiences are you collecting for yourself in order to continue with your me-search and your research. What have you experienced? What have you learned from those experiences? So thinking through, if you are not involved with a part-time job opportunity or full-time work or volunteer experience, and if you don't have the time to dedicate to that right now, maybe you have some other things on your plate, these are some amazing experiences that don't require a long-term commitment, but are great experiences for you to actually get out there, network with other people, learn from professionals, and have a lower time commitment. You might want to consider attending some networking events in which sometimes can be at a local college campus to you. ASU hosts many of these if you're local to our areas out here. But there's a ton of networking events that happen through professional associations and also local businesses as well. These events are oftentimes focused around a topic or an area of industry, so you can seek out some that are related to education. Check out your local school district as well for some if you are looking to get into some teaching positions. You can also work to informational interview with different professionals that are working in your area of interest. Informational interviews sound a little bit scary, but it's not like a job interview, and it's not asking somebody for a job or an internship. It's just an opportunity to have a quick phone call or an in-person meeting with a professional who is either working somewhere you'd like to work one day, doing something you'd like to do career-wise one day, or someone who maybe just graduated from ASU, like you will. So these are great opportunities for you to learn about that other professional, learn more about their career trajectory, and really reflect after you're done about what can you take away from that? How can you learn from that other professional's experience? And then finally, you can also create some job shadowing experiences for yourself. Job shadowing doesn't have to be a scary thing to ask to do. A lot of professionals are open and have jobs that they're able to have a professional sit in on different aspects of their day. Once you've networked with someone at a networking event or done an informational interview with someone, they're a part of your network. So you can certainly reach out and just ask if they would be interested or able to host you. So that way you could see what a day in the life of their profession would look like.
And just to jump in there, career services or your advisor can always help you with those conversations, just getting that started too.
Absolutely.
All right, so we are to the implementation section. So once you've conducted your me-search, your research, and you've engaged in experiential learning, now you want to implement what you've learned. So it's going to depend on where you are in the process in terms of where you're starting, and it's going to look a little bit different for everyone. So keep in mind, you don't need to know everything right away, but you'll want to kind of start narrowing this down to determine what opportunities are on the horizon. So consider your career interest area, the industry, and then the functional area. So kind of the subset of the industry, different organizations and locations.
Mm-hmm. And at any given time in your career, you might be deciding on any one of these things, or you might be deciding on a couple of these things. So take some time truly doing some exploration for yourself in order to implement the best decision for you right now. All right. That is the end of our information for you. We would love if you all could just take a couple of moments and think about what is something that you've learned today that you can implement in the next 24 hours that'll put you on the path to success. And with that being said, our content is over. So if anyone has chatted, we are going to move over and try to answer some questions for the group. We are not seeing any questions. Does anybody have any? Feel free to message us.
They're all thinking of their questions.
Mm-hmm. Lots of brains churning. All right, we're going to wait a couple more moments to see if we have any questions to answer. All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning in today. We hope you learned a lot. And again, we hope to see you in our next chat back on May 16th.